Hello, my friends, and thanks for joining me today. We're going to continue with tabbing our books here. So I have my brand new CPT 2023 book. We're going to go ahead and open this guy up. And it's another snow day, just like when we opened up our ICD-10 books. If you're just joining us, I just want to remind you that we also have a video on how to tab and mark your ICD-10 book. So here's what we talk about snow day. All this snow that comes out of our books. Yay. Okay. We'll continue to battle that. I also came with a really nice CPT E&M companion for 2023. It goes over the guidelines for evaluation and management and all the changes there. So if you get a chance to take a look at that, it's a valuable resource for you. Now, to tab our CPT 2023 book, AMA provided us with these really amazing tabs, and they're pretty good. So I use these tabs. I'm very comfortable with these tabs. I have some other tabs that we're going to use in addition to these tabs to do our index, but for right now, let's take a look at our tabs here. Now, I just go ahead and rip this out of the book. So I have my tabs available to me, but if I notice, there's a few tabs that are missing from the medicine section. And so they give you these extra tabs, and you can either use these extra tabs or you can purchase some of these additional tabs. I like to keep everything in sequence, so I'm going to use my green tabs in addition to the couple of green tabs we have here. The two areas that I normally add to my book in the medicine section is going to be a tab for the cardiology section. So I will do my cardio. And this is in addition to the cardio tab I have for my surgery section. And the other one, I'm going to do my infusion and chemo. I'm going to use my little green tabs here because I need one for OT, PT, for respiratory therapy and speech language pathology. And I'm going to need one for chiro. That's one of the services that I work with the most. Last but not least, I usually do one for miscellaneous services in the medicine section, and I can use this nice yellow tab. That one's okay. Okay. So I'm going to set those aside over here, and my marker and my tabs, and I'm going to go ahead and get started with the first section. First section of our CPT book that we want to tab is going to be our E&M section. So E&M section are these red sections here, and if you're working with your book here, your new book, you're going to see that the E&M actually starts on page 13. So if you look at page 13 here, this is where our E&M actually starts. I add a tab for the guidelines just so it makes it easier for me to access, but I usually do that after I get my tabs in my book. So I'm going to start here very much like we did with our ICD-10 book. We're just going to start at the very top with our E&M tab here and align it properly. So at the very top of the page, I just align my tab up here and voila, we're ready to go. And I continue on. Again, I do it past the guidelines. It makes it easy to identify those guidelines when you post your tabs on the actual page where the coding starts. So again, between the green pages and our actual beginning page, I do start at the table of content because I use my table of content as a resource. So in between my green pages, I start my anesthesia. Now, anesthesia starts on the left-hand side page, not the right-hand side page. So because it butts right up to the guidelines, I add my tab actually on the first page of anesthesia. Either way you decide to do it is fine. There's no right or wrong way to add these tabs there. This is your resource book, your reference book. And so you use them as you see fit. I might move that one over just a little. And if you're very gentle with these tabs, they are very generous and they move with you. So again, I'm going to just put my anesthesia tab a little bit further down, make a little gap. That's how I like it, right? Next, I'm going to go into the surgery section here. And starting in the surgery section, I am going to use my tab that says surgery to outline my surgical guidelines. So here, I'll start with page 71, and I will add my surgical tab here. And then immediately going into the integumentary system, I will add my tab to the integumentary system here. So I want to stop here at the female genitalia before we go to the nervous section. And the endocrine system is listed on page 446 and 447, and it has its own tab. So I want to make sure that you grab this endo tab over in the medicine section and that you use it to identify this particular page. Now I know that there's no distinction for it, but make sure that you grab it. Endocrine really should have its own tab on page 747. Now, when you get to the medicine section, this is where you really need to start looking at the codes themselves so that you can add the proper tabs to it. The very beginning of the medicine section talks to us about our vaccinations. Vaccinations start on page 722. And so I could either start my tab on 721 for vaccinations or on 722. Either way, there's no wrong way to do this. This is your reference book. And so however you're moved to apply your tabs, that's going to be the right way to apply them. Do pay attention to when your codes change. So you'll notice that on page 731, you start your psychiatry section, and that's where you're going to want to add your psychiatry tab, is at the beginning of that psychiatry section. Medicine section doesn't have the distinction that the surgery section has. So you're going to have to keep an eye out of when you run into the next set of codes. So again, psychiatry's here. There's a little bit of endocrinology here, so you could add it to your neuro tab really easily. You could just take your neuro tab and do neuro and endo, right? That could be very helpful. Your neuro and endo can go on the same tab. They share the same page, so easy to access. Now I need to make sure that my Appendix L is easy to identify. So I'm going to go through here and make sure that on my label, I make sure Appendix L is easy to identify. So I just put L in quotation marks on that tab that's there. And because K is on the adjacent page, I'm just going to go ahead and add the tab itself to the Appendix L page 965. Again, I made a little notation on my tab that this is my Appendix L. I use it a lot. Anyone that's working in cardiology, cardiovascular studies, angioplasties, angiograms, you're doing a lot of Appendix L. Make sure that you know how to access that easily. Then we go to Appendix Q. Appendix Q, which is our new appendix that we received last year in 2022 to identify our COVID vaccine administration. So if any of you are doing COVID vaccines in the office, Appendix Q is absolutely a godsend. And then that takes us to our index pages. Now, the index page is just as important in CPT as it is in ICD-10. And so what I normally do at my index page, I'll go ahead and give it a tab to say that we've reached the index page, right? Sometimes you feel like if you've got an extra tab left over, you've got to use it. So we can put it there, that's fine. I also use these ready tabs. So ready tags. And I really like these. They come 104 to a box, and one box usually lasts me about 5 years. So the index number for these ready tags is 31005. And you just need one sheet, your A through Z sheet. Let's pull this out. I just need the one sheet here. Oh, look at that. There we go. So exactly as I did in my ICD-10 book, I'm just going to use these tabs to identify the areas. Now, I can go ahead and start at the top. And because A starts on the adjacent page, I'm going to, again, use the right-hand side here to add my little alphabetic tabs. Right. So we have our tabs in place here. Now there are some other tabs that you may want to add to your book. And so I'll give you some examples of those areas that you may want to additionally tab. These are your place of service codes. You might need those on a regular basis. Also, we have some great information on page XX and XXI. And if you add any additional terminology or anatomical reviews to this page, I advise you putting a tab. Another one that is a great one to tab is going to be your anatomical planes. So if you're adding information to the anatomical planes, you may want to tab that as well. And then lastly, what I usually do every year is I add a nice big tab to the beginning of my evaluation and management section Again, the larger tab, because I spent a lot of time in evaluation and management. So totally up to you. But here we go. These are the tabs, tabbing your CPT book for 2023. Gosh, a lot of snow here, let me tell you. All right. If you enjoyed this video on how to tab your 2023 CPT book, make sure that you like and subscribe our YouTube channel so that you'll be notified as soon as new videos are uploaded on more tips and tricks and tutorials on how to assist you in being the best coder that you possibly can. Thanks for watching.